Yali Madad to all friends.
Mola Ali Madad.
या अली मदद मौला अली मदद।
कुर्बान नसीमा कि आप जो हैं वो पाकिस्तान से इस वक्त आप क्लास में शामिल है। कुर्बान मेरी जान।
थैंक यू, एनी टाइम वेलकम।
शुक्र मौला। So
मौला
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह।
आपको इसका अजर दीन और दुनिया में दे जानी।
अरे मेरी जान, आपकी दुआओं से जिंदा है। शुक्र अल्लाह। So today we have gathered here to continue our explanation of Gyanan, understanding of Gyanan, Braham Prakash, and today we will have the last session, and the reason is that the gist of it, the essence of it, we have covered, and we will continue to reflect, learn, and grow and understand. When we started this journey, we did say that we will study few verses to get the taste of this Gyanan, which is an amazing Gyanan. It is a very powerful, amazing Gyanan. Our peers had, our peer Pirshams had done so much of Girya Ozari that he wrote this kind of amazing Gyanan, which is so beautiful, so powerful, that even today, if we were to truly understand the depths given in this Gyanan, it will be hard to do justice to it. A quick review that we did discuss beginning 5 verses which were related to Ism-e-Azam. And we did talk about Ism-e-Azam in great detail. We did also talk about the balance in ilm o amal o ibadat. And then we did stop, pause, and talked about Guru, which is the first line of this beautiful Gyanan. Sata Shabad hai Guru Hamara. Sata Shabad being the Ism-e-Azam, Guru being the Imam. The Tawil of Ism-e-Azam is the Imam. Imam is the Musamma, the personality. And we've been talking about Imam Shinasi. And we did review a few verses from the Quran just as a dawat, as an invitation that this is the journey for those who truly want to dive deep into learning about Imam Shinasi. They can attend advanced classes or they can read books on their own to understand deep secrets which are hidden, which are expected of us as a follower of Imam. It is Imam's desire that we recognize him. In Golden Jubilee, when Imam was asked, Maula, what would you like for you? And Maula said that I want my Jamaat to recognize me. And that's what our Peer actually had emphasized in this Gyanan. Sata Shabad hai Guru Hamara. It is the inam, it is the reward of Ism-e-Azam's bandagi. If those friends, those mu'mineen who sit in bandagi and seek his nur, their hearts are attracted to true knowledge, somehow they do find these classes and they do seek higher learning, higher knowledge, and become close and close to the nur of the Imam. So in other words, this was a dawat, this was an invitation to continue to seek higher knowledge. So the verse today I have in front of me, this is verse 5th, which we did talk about very briefly. In this, our peers is saying, Naam leta bhaya prem prakasha, tab upajya man viswasa. By taking the name, light of love starts, sharing in one's mind and deep faith, Iman or contentment arises. These translations have been taken from Smiley Net. તો આપણે આ જ્ઞાનના સેશન એટલે શરૂ કર્યો હતો કે આ જ્ઞાન જે છે બહુ જ ઊંડાણમાં છે, એની સમજ જે છે બહુ જ ઊંડાણમાં છે અને આપણા પીરે ખૂબ મહેનત, ખૂબ ગિરિયાઝારી, ખૂબ ઇબાદત કરી હતી, ત્યારે આવો જ્ઞાન આપણા માટે ખજાનાના જે મૂકીને ગયા છે. અને એ ખજાનાની અહેમિયત જે જોહરી હોય ને એ જ સમજી શકે. તો આપણે અમુક જ વર્सेस જ્ઞાનના કર્યા. આજે 11મું સેશન છે. આ 11 સેશનના અંદર જે ચાહના, જે કોશિશ હતી એ હતી કે એક દાવત છે, એક ઇન્વિટેશન છે આપણા બધાના માટે કે અગર આપણે ઇમામના ચાહવાવાળા છીએ અને આપણે ઇબાદતમાં બેસીએ છીએ તો એનો આગળનો દરજ્જો એ છે કે આપણે પોતાની રૂહની મારફત કરીએ. રૂહની મારફત જે છે એ ઇલ્મના અંદર છુપાયેલી છે. અને જ્યારે આપણે હદીસ સાંભળીએ કે મન અરફા નફસહી ફખદ અરફા રબ્બેહી, કે જેણે પોતાની રૂહને ઓળખ્યો તેણે જાણે કે ખુદાને ઓળખ્યો. તો ક્વેશ્ચન અહીંયા એ ઊભો થાય છે કે પોતાને તો આપણે ઓળખીએ છીએ, આપણે બધાને ખબર છે કે આપણે કોણ છીએ, તો અહીંયા પોતાની ઓળખની શું વાત છે? તો પોતાની ઓળખના માટે જે આપણે સમજવું છે એ છે કે આપણા અંદર જે છે રૂહે સિફલી અને પછી કહેવાય રૂહે ઉલ્વી. રૂહે સિફલી નીચે છે, રૂહે ઉલ્વી ઉપર છે. The higher I is above and the lower I is here. It is connected. The lower I is connected to the higher I. The recognition of ourself is actually when we recognize that higher I, because this lower I is connected to the higher I. તો આપણે જે આ દુનિયામાં છીએ આપણે ઇમામથી બંધાયેલા છીએ. જે આપણી હકીકત છે ઇમામથી બંધાયેલી છે. તો અગર આપણે પોતાને એ જગ્યા ઉપર ઓળખીએ જ્યાં કે ઓળખવાનું હક છે, જે આપણે ઇમામના સાથે છીએ, જ્યારે ઇમામ કહે છે કે મારી શનાખ્ત હું ચાહું છું મારી જમાત કરે, અને જ્યારે આપણે હદીસ સાંભળીએ કે પોતાને જેણે ઓળખ્યું એણે ખુદાને ઓળખ્યું, તો પોતાને ઓળખવાનો મતલબ કે પોતાની એ હકીકતને ઓળખવાનું છે જે હકીકત આપણી ખુદાના સાથે છે, ત્યારે જ આપણે ખુદાને ઓળખી શકીએ. તો ઇલ્મ, within knowledge, these delicacies, these deeper understanding of how to conceptualize all these big words which we read, different ahadith we read or different Ghananic words we read, we are able to understand these concepts. So Pir in this verse is saying that when we take the name, which is our Isme Azam, Sat Shabad hai Guru Hamara, it is through this name that we will journey further. Now, when we understand that it is crucially important that we do not miss our ibadat, we are not lazy in our ibadat, we have given commitment to our imam and we do sit in ibadat. It is only those who are regular in ibadat are able to walk further in their journey. Yes, there could be flaws, but the heart intention is pure, the decision is very pure, the attempt and intentions are very pure. But yes, there are sometimes flaws, and Imam is forgiving. Every day is a new day. So when we say that we are conscientious in sitting of ibadat, doing of ibadat every day, we start as a new day and become better and better. When we say that, when we think like that, through that name, through that Isme Azam, that Noor which is encompassed within that name, the Guru which is encompassed within that name, the Noor of the Guru is encompassed within that name, starts opening up within our being. And that opening up actually happens through true knowledge, meaning that the knowledge and the practice of ibadat actually goes hand in hand. One may start something first and then the next step comes in, and that is okay too. But કહેવામાં આવે છે જ્યારે જાગ્યા ત્યારે સવાર. As soon as we realize that one is incomplete without the other, meaning we do need the knowledge and we do need the ibadat. If someone continues to seek knowledge and do not sit in ibadat, that is also not good. And for that we do know very harsh example of Shaitan. That Shaitan was a scholar. When we read about Shaitan, our peers have taught us that he had read 3,600,000 books, not just 1,200,000, 3,600,000 books. Can we imagine the number of the books? He was a scholar, but what he did not learn? Humility, farman bardari. He thought himself better than Adam. And what had happened? He was thrown out of the court of Imam and he became shaitan till the day of Qiyamah. So we do know that those who only seek knowledge and do not pay attention to their ibadat or zikr or giri azari, they are also not doing it right. And those who only give importance to Isma Azam and ibadat and do not seek knowledge, they are also not doing it right. So this Gnan actually helps us to understand that when we take the name with knowledge, when we recite the Isma Azam with the marifat at ilmul yaqeen, certainty of knowledge, when we have that, when we understand the meaning of it, automatically the nur lights in our heart. Automatically there is joy and happiness in one's heart, regardless of any tests we are going through, regardless of any pain or physical health problems, regardless of anything one can think of. That joy will be there. Why? Because the light of Imam is lit in the heart of that moment. And that moment is always shukr guzar, always happy. And that is possible. That is very much possible. That exactly what our peers are teaching us. That naam leta bhaya prem prakasha tab upajya man viswasa. Viswas is from trust, bharosa. The way we in dua we say that we only trust you, Mola. The bharosa comes when there is logically acceptance of how Imam is Imam. Logically understanding how Imam is our Mawla. When we have that, the Iman increases. Iman is also in Darjat. Love, Ishq is also in Darjat. And we do know that Quran talks about 50,000 steps, 50,000 darjat. So every darja is there for Mu'min and Salik to climb up. ખુદા કુરાનના અંદર 50,000 દરજાની વાત કરે છે કે જે લોકો મોમિનીન છે એ દરજા ઉપર ચડતા જાય છે. કેવી રીતે? એ લોકો ઇબાદત કરે છે અને ઇલ્મ હાસિલ કરે છે. જ્યારે આ બે ચીજો કરતા હોય છે અને જ્યારે એ ઇસ્મે આઝમ ઉપર બેસે ને ઇબાદત કરે તો એ લોકોના દિલના અંદર પોતે પોત એવો નૂર, એવી ખુશી, એવી નુરાનિયત આવતી હોય કે એ લોકો મસ્તીમાં હોય, ખુશીમાં હોય, શુક્રગુજારીમાં હોય, આજુબાજુ એટલી ફિકરું હોય, ટેન્શન્સ હોય, મસલા હોય, પણ એ મોમેન્ટ બહુ પોતે ઠંડકમાં, પોતે શાંતિમાં હોય અને એ પોતાના અંદર એ મગન હોય અને દુનિયાની જિંદગી પણ ચાલતી હોય, એને કાંઈ ફરક ન પડતું હોય. તો કેવી અજીબ વાત છે ને કે આ મોમિન દુનિયામાં રહીને દુનિયાની કોઈ એની તકલીફ અસર નથી કરતી. કેમ? કે એના અંદર જે ખુશી છે ને એ બહુ જ નિરાલી છે, બહુ જ અજીબ વ ગરીબ છે. અને એ જ આપણા પીર આપણે સમજાવે છે કે જ્યારે એવી સમજથી કોઈ ઇબાદત કરે છે ઇલ્મના સાથે તો એના અંદર એવો વિશ્વાસ આવે છે, એવો યકીન આવે છે કે કાંઈ બી થઈ જાય, કોઈ બી મુશ્કેલ આવી જાય, મારા મૌલા મારા સાથે છે, હું એકલો નથી. તો કોઈ મુશ્કેલ પણ આવે, ઇમામ આપણા સાથે છે. કોઈ બીમારી પણ આવે, ઇમામ આપણા સાથે છે. એ પાકો યકીન હોય અને એના અંદર શાંતિ અને ખુશી હોય. So by taking the name, light of love starts shining in one's mind. Now, mind, when we read, we do need to understand what Peer is telling us, that it is in our intellect. The faith increases actually through our intellect. Heart will have higher level of faith, yaqeen, bharosa. It all depends on the knowledge of Mu'min Salik and the practice of ibadat. Maulana Hazri Imams फरमा, Beautiful farman. Maula has given this farman Bombay, India on October 1962. Please recite the salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Maula says, when you get it, Isme Azam, when you get it, light, when you get it, you will not need Imam to tell you that you have or you have not got this. When we see that light which our Peer is talking about, we will not have to ask Imam that we have get it or gotten it or not. Imam says you will know it yourself. You may have had worldly happiness, happiness by having children, success in your business, or you may have seen good days in your life, but remember that nothing can be compared with the true happiness that you will achieve in your prayers. Now, this is very, very powerful farman of Imam. It is very clear that those who see that light, it is uncomparable, meaning that no matter how happy we are in our life, whatever pleasures we have received in our life, nothing is comparable to that pleasure which is received by a Mu'min Sadiq when he sees the light, when he experiences the nur in his heart. So it is very important to understand that this nur, experience of this nur is for us, the followers of the Imam. That happiness is a true happiness. That happiness nobody can compare to any other kind of happiness. Then Mola says, you should aim at this. I have seen in Jamaats that there are those who are hypnotized by worldly gains. They are fools. They want other titles, appointments in councils and so on. They have not understood the true path. What is important in your lifetime is to perform bandagi and achieve the light in your heart and soul. This is much greater than the titles. However, you may be doing for worldly progress, the most important is the true path. Now, this answers so many questions which friends ask. What about my khidmat? What about my this? And what about my that? Yes, we should do khidmat. But Imam says, nothing is more important than the true path. People go after names, fame, numbers, titles. That is not the true path. The true path is to seek that light. And that is the purpose of our life. Whatever we may have achieved in our physical life, our profession, our children, our belongings, our money, whatever we have achieved, that was not the true purpose. The true purpose is that we seek that light and walk on the true path. That is the desire of Imam, that we should all seek that light and seek that happiness. And exactly that's what Braham Prakash says. But it starts with that first line, Sata Shabad hai Guru Hamara. If we are not able to recognize the Imam, the first expectations the Peer has laid in front of us, how are we able to experience that happiness which is kept for us? If we do not fulfill the first criteria, how can we go further in the journey? And that is why what happens, we may get hypnotized by titles, by names, by becoming somebody in Jamaat Khana, in profession, wherever. Whatever kind of desire is keeping us happy, keeping us hypnotized and away from this path, it is not the right direction. It is in the recognition of Imam that our true purpose of our life lies there. We do need to recognize the Imam. તો આ ફરમાનના અંદર આપણે સમજી ગયા કે ઇમામ ફરમાવે છે કે દુનિયાના અંદર માણસો જે છે જમાતના અંદર મોલા કહે છે કે હું જોઉં છું કે જમાતના અંદર એવા મેમ્બર્સ છે જે લોકોને ટાઇટલ ખપતા હોય છે અને કાઉન્સિલમાં એપોઇન્ટમેન્ટ ખપતા હોય છે અને મૌલા કહે છે કે આ લોકો ગલત રસ્તા ઉપર ચડેલા છે, આ લોકો ગલત રસ્તા ઉપર ચડેલા છે. કેમ કે જે જિંદગીનો હકીકતી જે આપણો પર્પસ છે એ ઇમામની શનાખ્ત છે, એ રૂહની ઓળખ છે, એના દીદાર છે, એના નૂરની એની નૂરના અંદર આપણી પ્રગતિ છે. આપણે એ રસ્તાને મૂકીને આપણે પોતાના નામ ને ટાઇટલ ને બધી એમાં પડી ગયા છે અને એના પાછળ આપણે દુનિયામાં લાગી ગયા છે. તો ઇમામ ફરમાવે છે કે એ લોકો ગાંડા છે, દે આર ફૂલ્સ, લિટરલી ફૂલ્સ. તો એ લોકો મૂર્ખ છે, મૌલા ફરમાવે છે. તો ફરક છે મૂર્ખમાં અને અકલમંદમાં. અને આપણે એ વાતને બહુ સરખાઈ રીતે સમજી ગયા છીએ. એલમી ક્લાસીસમાં આવતા આવતા આ ચીજને આપણે સમજી ગયા છીએ હવે. તો બીજો પાર્ટ પીર ફરમાવે છે, કહો પ્રેમ લક્ષ कैसा रे भाई, કહો પ્રેમ લક્ષ कैसा रे भाई, ગુપ્ત ભેદ કહું પ્રગટ बताई. Brother, you may ask, what is this light of love? Let me tell you openly the secret. Peer is saying that yes, if you really want to ask that question, you must. But can we ask like that? Tell me what is the secret of the love of Imam? No, it is a journey, it is a path. Meaning that we seek knowledge, we seek recognition of Imam, because that's the first step. Along with our ibadah. Remember, they both go hand in hand. Then Peer says, if you are able to meet that criteria, oh, I will tell you the secret of love openly. But for that, there are expectations. Because if you look at the next verse, Peer is just talking about his own experience, his own Ruhani experience. So in reality, what Peer is doing, he is talking about himself in words which are full of veils. He is not exposing or giving us any secret except sharing with us how happy, how joyous he is by receiving the light. By sharing that, he is inviting us. Come, if you like what I'm doing, what I'm saying, come join me. Join where? What do? We seek knowledge. When we seek knowledge, we sit in ibadat, we will also find that love which Peer is talking about. And then in our batin, Peer, Pagambar, Hududdin can come and teach us. Because all the higher ranks are present in this world. And they are encompassed within the Imam. Meaning, those Mu'min Salikin who start walking on the path within their being, they will be helped, guided to the right direction, to seek knowledge, to learn knowledge, to be able to unfold the secrets which are there within the knowledge. You know, there are classes, one class is going on, and there are 10 people, let's say, listening. All the 10 people will learn different things in a different capacity, in different depth. Why? Those who work hard, those who do riyazat, they will understand more, they will get more. Why? Because they do have within themselves the light of Imam which helps them to understand. So with knowledge and with ibadat, what happens? Peer is inviting us that you want to also fall in love? Come, let me tell you. How beautiful that is. I love the way our peers have written Ginan to tell us how joyful their life was. When we read the history, the life of peers were full of difficulties. It does not match. When we read their life stories, it is totally different from the Ginans they have written. Meaning, when they were writing the Ginans, they were writing with their heart to just share with us what they were experiencing in their batin, inviting us to that path. And then their life, when we look at it, with full of difficulties. And that is what we need to learn, that the physical life does not matter. No one knows us. If we have title or not, it does not matter. What is inside us, that what matters. Imam knows chit ki chori. He knows everything, whatever we are thinking, whatever we are doing, nothing is hidden from him. Nobody has to know, acknowledge, and appreciate what we are doing. Imam knows it all. Then Maulana Hazri Imam's Farman from Nairobi, Kenya, October 4th, 1962. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. No matter what happens to you, if you are strong, if you pray regularly, if you have been admitted to Betul Khyal and you come to the early morning prayers, then you will find strength and you will find happiness. And nobody will be able to touch this happiness because it will be something which you have generated through your faith. Through your faith. Beautiful ફરમાન of Maula Bapa. અહીંયા ઇમામ ફરમાવે છે કે અગર તમે દુનિયામાં કેવી બી તકલીફ આવે, કાંઈ બી થઈ જાય, જેમ ઇમામ સુલ્તાન મોશે ફરમાવે છે કે તમારા મહેનત કરેલા કમાવેલા પૈસા લૂંટાઈ જાય, તમારો એક જ દીકરો હોય અને એ ગુજરી જાય, કાંઈ બી થઈ જાય, પણ તમે બહુ હિંમતવાન રહેશો. કેવી રીતે? અગર તમે તમારી સવારની ઇબાદતમાં પાકા છો. કેમ કે ઇબાદત એવી છે કે એના જોરથી મોમિનના અંદર એવો ઈમાન આવે છે, એવી પાકીઝગી આવે છે કે એ આખો દિવસ એનો મગજ જે છે એમના ખ્યાલાત, ઝિકરના રટણથી ભરેલો રહે છે. તો દુનિયાના અંદર કેવી બી આઘાત, કેવી બી તકલીફ, કેવા બી મુશ્કેલો આવે એને કાંઈ અસર નથી કરતી. કેમ કે એનું અંદર જે ખુશી છે, આ જે દુનિયાનો ગમ છે એના સુધી પૂગી જ નથી શકતો. કેમ કે એના પોતાના ઈમાનથી એના અંદર એવી ઈમાનની પ્રગતિ થાય, એવી ખુશીની પ્રગતિ થાય કે એમાં જ મસ્ત હોય, એમાં જ મસ્ત હોય. કોઈ એની ખુશીને ક્યારે પણ છીની નથી શકતો, હંમેશા એ ખુશબાશ રહેતો હોય. Beautiful ફરમાન of Imam. Now let us go to the next verse. He says, now remember the last verse he says, let me tell you the secret. Now, and then he talks about this. So pay attention how Peer very cleverly are inviting us. He says, Gad gad lahari prem ki uthe, ta beech shiri mukh ki chute. Now he says, there will gush forth waves of love in your mind, and the divine nectar will flow freely into your mouth. Now he's talking about his own spiritual experiences. If we have been attending ilm classes, we do know that we do have physical senses, right? Through which we sense in the worldly life. But then there are senses which are spiritual. Then there are senses which are intellectual. So the way our life is physical, spiritual, intellectual, similarly there are senses at 3 levels. And Peer is saying here, pay attention, he's saying, the divine nectar will flow freely into your mouth. This nectar we will taste in our mouth. Didn't we think this mouth is to eat physical food so our physical body gets strength? No, there is more to this mouth. There is more to this taste. Now, this is not a physical food, this is not a physical taste, but there is taste, which is a spiritual. And there is nectar, meaning we are being fed. Now, what is that? What is that? How do we get that? It is through knowledge that we are able to understand that there are Batni senses. And if I may tell you that, the example of eyes actually for spiritual senses is the sense of our prophets, the talimat of our prophets. Meaning a Mu'min Salik when has a basirat, meaning has the eyes. Which eyes? Ruhani eyes. Meaning that his own prophet, the Paigambar within his being, is giving him or her the basirat to see the light. When we talk of ears, ears are symbolically used for the talimat of the asas. Asas is the title of the Imam who gives us the tawilat, deeper meaning. Meaning that Momin Salik may be sitting in general ilmi classes, but listening completely different things than all others who are listening. Why? Because that Momin Salik has strengthened that sense within their being and they are able to get higher fruits sitting in general classes. Then we can talk about mouth. Mouth is an example of our hujjat, our peer. When we seek knowledge from our peer, when we understand what our peers are telling us, and we truly get the deeper meaning, it's like tasting the nectar, tasting that honey, which is spiritual. When we talk of our skin, for example, skin is symbolically used for dye. Dye is rank which when we get the talimat from a dye, meaning that dye can envelop all our body, meaning the skin covers all our body. The talimat of dye are such that it envelops us. So what I'm saying through these different examples, that there is so much more which is so beautiful, so amazing, and our peers are just giving us, like, bit by bit trailers for us to get interested, for us to get inquisitive, for us to become seeker, for us to start reading books, for us to want to desperately know more, so we continue to learn and enjoy what peer is talking about. There is a gush, gad gad lehri prem ki uthe. When I read this verse, I imagine that if we were to be sitting in front of the beach and automatically there are waves coming, gush of waves, strong waves. There is nothing there to make those waves. Automatically in the ocean we see waves. Similarly, in the heart of Momin and Salik, that gush of love comes from within. They don't have to do anything. It's from within. It continues to come and make them happy, joyous. And no one around them understands why this person is so happy. There's nothing happy around here. But they are in gratitude and they're happy. All these are beautiful experiences for those who are the seekers. Gad gad lahari prem ki uthe, ta bich shiri mukh ki chute. Maulana Hazar Imam's beautiful farman from Karachi, Pakistan, December 25th, 1964. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. This happiness can never be taken away from you. This happiness can never be taken away from you, nor can it be described by you to any other spiritual child. And this is why I have said to my spiritual children in Baitul Khya time and time again that this is a private matter. It is a link between yourself, each one of you individually, and the Noor of Imamat. If you seek to describe this link, if you seek to speak about it, if you seek to speak to other people about the happiness which you have gained therefrom, they will not understand this. They will not understand this unless they have taught themselves to sit in bandagi and to receive Noor of Imamat. So pay very careful attention. Imam is saying no one can understand it. You should not talk about it. They will never understand it because there are very few. There are very few who truly get interested in this path, because this path is, in the beginning, it feels like additional, something in addition to what we have to do in our worldly life. Our way of looking at our lives is other way around. The physical life, the worldly life, professional life, family life, everything is important for us. Everything. Then comes our spiritual life. So sometimes it is seen as a burden. Sometimes it is seen as, additional. Don't want to do that. Don't have time, too busy. I'm not fanatic. You will hear different kinds of comments. However, when we pay good attention to Imam's Farman, Imam is talking about it that the worldly life will hypnotize you. So tell me, it is not hypnotism or what? Is it not being hypnotized when we hear the comments like that? I don't have time, I'm busy. Simply, what does it tell us? That we have not paid attention to Imam's Farman. We have not understood what Imam's desire is, Imam's wish is, that we seek this light. So the Imam is saying that no one will understand it. Why do you even try to share about this link? Link meaning what? The experience, um, that understanding which you have got, that experience which you have felt in your heart through Isma Azam and knowledge, that no one can understand it unless there are those who have thought about it, who have practiced, and who know, have received the Nur of Imamat. They will understand it, but majority will not. So do not be going out and talking to people. Do not do that. It is free will of Momin to become a Salik. It is a free will of those who want to elevate on the path of knowledge. It depends on them, and it requires extra additional work. In the beginning, it might feel like a burden too. But remember, practice makes man perfect. The way in the beginning, ibadat, to wake up for ibadat wasn't easy. But by consistent practice, with Maula's mercy, we are able to sit in bandagi. So everything starts with difficulty. Everything starts with difficulty. And that's what we have done in our physical worldly life. Nothing is easy in the beginning. But if we truly want it, we will do it, and it becomes easier then. But we got to go through that first hindrance. Then Peer says, Hot galgali sukh mein agahi, taan bich manwa rahiya samai. Hot galgali sukh mein agahi, taan bich manwa rahiya samai. Happiness bubbles. Happiness arises from within inside, and your mind gets enveloped in it. Can you imagine, like, how? What does that mean? But if we have good, strong, powerful imagination, again, I'll take you to the beach. You're sitting at the beach shore, and waves are so small that you don't think you'll get wet. But suddenly a huge wave will come, and you'll get head to toe wet. And you'll feel such a happiness because you're sitting at seashore. Suddenly from nowhere, that happiness bubbles and your mind gets enveloped into it. Now, very interestingly, we have to pay attention. Peer is talking about mind. What does it mean when Mola says that you must stay in reflection for 2 hours? You should reflect for 2 hours. Tame khayal, bekala khayal karo. Tame bekala khayal karo. Now, how are we going to have reflection if we do not have any readings or any higher knowledge, seeking habit? If you don't read or don't attend true classes, true knowledge classes, how are we going to learn that? It will be through those ilmi points which will stuck with us and will continue to reflect how it is, what it is, when it is. What does it mean? When we continue to reflect, from somewhere, from nowhere, this happiness will bubble into our being and our mind will completely be enwrapped into it. And where the time will fly, we will not know. Sometimes, if we are truly thinking about something, even the worldly example, right? If there is some issue we are dealing with, and the body continues to do the work, even if, let's say, we are at work or we are cooking or we are doing anything, hours will pass and we will not feel those hours and we'll be doing the physical work, whatever we are doing, but the mind was constantly in that one thought. That is the physical example. Is it not possible in spiritual example? Exactly same thing can happen for those salikin who have the habit of khayal, baytul khayal. They are in the house of khayal during the daytime even. During the daytime even. While living worldly life, but their mind is into baytul khayal. So what happens? Suddenly from somewhere we get something, we understand something, and then there's a smile, there is happiness, and we are enwrapped by this happiness within our being. No one knows around us. We are in different world. That's what Peer is talking about. Ho galgali sukh mein agahi, ta beech manwa raya samai. It is in my heart. Nobody can see it. Beautiful Ginan. Maulana Hazri Imam Farman. East Africa, October 1966. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. This elevation, this understanding is not easy. This elevation, this understanding is not easy. And it is not something which is a right of yours. But when you sit in Bandagi, when you sit in Ibadat, when you sit in Bandagi, if you succeed once in each one of you, in each one of your lives to eliminate completely your worldly thoughts and elevate yourselves, you will have a sense of understanding, a sense of happiness, a sense of understanding what is the inner meaning of this life. So Mola is telling us that this is not easy. This elevation, this understanding which we are seeking, it's not easy. And not that it is our right. We cannot even demand, we cannot ask. We can humbly seek Mola's mercy. It is not our right. No matter how many consistent hours of bandagi or consistent seeking of knowledge, it is His mercy. It is not our ability. It is not something we can demand. It is not our right. We cannot be greedy. We cannot be demanding. Mola, whenever you think it is right for me, give it to me. If you think it is not, it's all right. But Mola, I do seek Mola. I do seek, do know that. I am this humble, poor slave in your court. I do seek Mola. I want to love you more and more. I do want to have your didar. All that has to be in our heart with this important condition that it is not our right. And remember, this is not easy. It is difficult. But when we are able to overcome that difficulty, and remember, Imam never tricks us. Remember that. Even in Quran, Allah says that I have made this easy for you. Didn't we just read in this Farman, Allah says it is difficult? It is difficult for those who are beginning the path, who are starting the journey. But a mu'min salik who stays consistent walking further, believe me, Imam is merciful. He wants us to elevate. But he sees, he tests us. Who are those who are true seekers? And who are those who are just there because they got interested today? And they are there. How many of them will stay consistent, seeking knowledge consistently, sitting in ibadat consistently? For them, Maula's rahmat comes and it becomes easy. Not before that. Not before that. It is difficult. Why? We have to prove our sincerity. We have to prove our worth that yes, Mola Baba, we are sincere in seeking this path. We are not having our thoughts somewhere else. Lips are saying we want this. The heart and the mind and the tongue, everything has to be at one direction. And then Mola says, and it will come into focus for you once again. Now, very interestingly, I would like you to pay attention. You know, Mola is saying that if you succeeded once, you will find that happiness. You will have understanding. Meaning what? It has become easier. That understanding which was difficult, it has given to you. It is easier now. Immediately, Mola has resolved that query for us. He begins by saying it is difficult. But then, once if we have succeeded, with His mercy, it will become easier. We will be able to experience that happiness. And then Mola says, and it will come into focus for you once again. Now, what Mola is saying here? Remember when we walk on the path of true knowledge, seeking the light, ilm wali रूह darja badarja upar chadti hai. There are darjat in this happiness too. There are darjat in didar too. Step by step, that Momin Salik continues to elevate themselves. Then Mola says, and it will come into focus for you once again, as it should, that this life is a temporary thing. It is the life hereafter, which has no limits. And you must prepare yourself for it. Then Mola is talking about, yes, we will have clear understanding that this physical life is temporary. It is the akhirat, it is the qiyamat, which is permanent, which is important, which is must. So when you sit in ibadat, you will find that if you succeed in elevating, in opening your hearts, in eliminating worldly matters from your mind, you will have sense of understanding and a sense of happiness. It is like a physical possessions. It is like a physical possessions. The way we do have our physical things, that happiness will be with us physically. We are experiencing it all the time. It will be with us. Nobody can take it away from us. There is so much more reflection needed on this farman. Mola says, you will know this as you know that the sun rises in the morning and the sun sets in the evening. And if you seek to describe this to other people, they will not understand. They will feel, well, this person is talking about something which is above me. Have you felt that ever? That this person is talking about something which is above me. Meaning that people will not understand. And it will be above him because he will not have experienced this happiness, this understanding. If you seek to speak to someone who has this experience, there is no point to explain. There is no point to explain it to him because he knows already what it is. So there is no necessity to explain. So there are two groups of people. There are one who understand it, but then there is no need to explain to them because they understand it. And there are those who don't understand it, and even if you were to tell, they will not understand it. They're like, whatever he or she is talking, it's above me. I'm not interested. So Mola Baba is opening up the secrets for us. Those who pay attention, they'll get it. He says in Sadguru Salokomoto, Sadgur kahre jene kaleje baan laga nehtana, teri drashti kem avare jaye. Tenu pind chale murti lokma, teni surati akashe jaye. Those whose heart is pierced by the arrow of love, how can this person's vision go astray? ધ્યાન બીજી જગ્યા જાશે જ નહીં. જેના દિલના અંદર મોલા બેઠેલા છે એનું ધ્યાન બીજી જગ્યા જાશે જ નહીં. એનું બદન દુનિયામાં રહેશે, બટ એના વિચાર, એના ખ્યાલ, રિફ્લેક્શન્સ હંમેશા ઇમામના સાથે એ જન્નતના અંદર હશે, ઇમામના સાથે હશે. હંમેશા ખુશીમાં, હંમેશા ખુશબાશ ઇમામના સાથે હશે. Maulana Hazim Imam's beautiful Farman of Toronto, Canada, November 19, 2017. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. When you sit, you are seeking to come close and closer and closer and closer and closer to He who is above everything, who is above everything. Do we know who He is, who is above everything? Are we coming closer to Him? The way Imam is saying there are darjat, come close and closer and closer and closer. Step by step by step, we will be able to see, recognize, and know and love and find out who is He who is above everything. So you're looking for enlightenment, but it is not an enlightenment of this world. It is a different enlightenment. And I'm certain as your Imam that if you are successful, you will know it. If you are successful, you will know it. But as I have said, keep that as your personal treasure. Keep fasting, keep rosa. It's your personal treasure. Do not be talking about it. Do not share it. Do not try to share it. Do not gossip about it. And keep that light with you for your personal happiness in your everyday lives. It is something which is with us every day. It doesn't leave us. It is every day. His name, His love, His presence, His support, His encouragement is with us every day. But we do not need to talk about it. We do not need to share it to anybody. Those who know it, they don't need to be told. Those who don't know it, they will never understand it. Keep fasting. Do not be talking about it. So in summary, we have not understood Ginans. We have not understood Ginans. In Ginans, there are so many deeper hidden secrets which will be for us if we were to seek true knowledge, which will be available for us if we are seeking true knowledge. Because when we are seeking true knowledge, we are able to understand Ginans in the light of Quran. When we do that, we are truly able to have the first step, which is certainty of knowledge. It is through the certainty of knowledge we will have eye of certainty, and then Haqqul Yaqeen. Our peers actually were at this stage, Haqqul Yaqeen. They had seen all the Ruhaniyat, and whatever they had seen, they had written Ginan for us. So we are reading Ginans, we are here. We need to continue to seek knowledge to be able to come to the higher understanding, higher level. So in conclusion, it is the same slide, Sata Shabad, the word, Ya Ali, the Isme Azam, which is in a word, Guru Hamara. Sata Shabad hai Guru Hamara. The Guru, which is Nurani, luminous. Who is that? Our Imam, our Mawla. So when we say Sata Shabad, it is the spiritual practice of our Ibadah, Zikr, Girya, Avzari. But when we seek the knowledge of the Guru, it has to be through true knowledge, intellectual practice. Balance has to be maintained for us to be able to understand these powerful, beautiful Ginans which our peers have wrote for us. They worked very hard to write these beautiful experiences, spiritual experiences in the form of Ginan for us. Shukran lillah, alhamdulillah, shukran lillah, alhamdulillah.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah, Shukran lillah, alhamdulillah. Friends, if you have any questions, you can come forward or you can post it in the chat. We have one question. Friend is asking, how do we understand more about tasting what you talked about? Is there something of smell and tasting, or is it for all senses or one?
Taste, I mentioned about, I was giving example of spiritual senses. So we do have physical senses, but then there are spiritual senses and then there are intellectual senses. So every sense has its own experience at a higher level. And all this is knowledge, is in true knowledge. When we seek this knowledge, study Ginans in the light of Quran, we will find that uh, Quran talks about very many different examples, and that's what we see in Ginans too. So they are all interrelated. But yes, there is presence of a spiritual senses as well as intellectual senses.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah. If there are any comments, you can also come forward. If you don't have any question for a comment, you also can come forward.
I have a quick question.
Go
Yes,
ahead,
Alia,
Ali.
go ahead.
Sorry. So one of my questions was with regards to the getting the spiritual knowledge and to getting to that level. But there's different levels on that, right? So then, let's say like one person is on one level, another person is on another level. Their experiences won't be the same, would they?
Ali, I had difficulty understanding. Your voice is so muffled.
Can you hear me?
Yes, better, much better.
Sorry. So on when someone reaches that level, right? But there's different levels. There's like Dai, there's Hujjat, there's all of those different levels, right?
Mhm.
Hello?
Yeah. So what about those
Sorry.
levels?
So when each person reaches that level, right? Their experiences though will be different, right? So then like even though they reach that level, like the part of like if the person doesn't understand, even if the person's not at the level, they won't understand. Even if let's say like you're at a certain level, if the person is above level, then you won't understand that.
Yes.
Okay. Just sorry, I wanted to clarify that.
So I hope everybody understood that what Alia is saying, that if someone is at a higher level, even if it is beginning level, but higher than you, then we will not be able to understand. Let's say Alia is, mashallah, very learned person. I may not be able to understand what Alia's experiences are. And I agree with you that that's correct. Those who are not on the path, they will not understand it.
So then my other question is that okay, when you get Ismi Azam, okay, and then there's the Ismi Azam the second time you get, right? But what about if like let's say you get Ismi Azam, but you don't go for the second time? Can you still then go up to the higher level even without going to the formal ceremony of getting the Ismi Azam the second level?
So what you are saying, that if somebody has gotten Isma Azam
Mhm.
and they have seen light, and
Mhm.
for some reason they did not go for promotion, if
Mhm.
Imam wants to elevate somebody, Imam has no limitation. Im-
Okay.
yeah, Imam has no limitation. He can elevate anybody and everybody in their batin.
Okay. So now let's say someone didn't go get Ismi Azam. Would they still be able to get Ismi Azam from Imam, let's say that time during that person's lifetime? Because sometimes some people live in like Russia or China, they don't always see Imam. Would they still be able to get Ismi Azam from Imam even though they didn't go get Ismi Azam physically?
Okay, I understand your question now. So, for example, when we take example of, let's say, China, okay,
Mhm.
or northern areas of Pakistan, it was very recent that they got Ismail Azam from Hazrat Imam, right? But before that, even that they were just doing ibadat, zikr with Ya Ali, Ya Muhammad, and the way their hearts were so pure and they were so strong in their practices with all the riyazat they had to go through, their spirituality, they are much more elevated in their batin. Why and how? Someone may ask, they don't have Isma Azam, how did they get elevated? Because we do know Isma Azam is the first criteria. How did they elevate? In their batin, Imam actually gives them Isma Azam. And when they do the zikr of that name, they do come and at a higher level, they elevate themselves. Imam is Imam. So, didar or giving of Isme Azam is not limited to physical setup. Imam can give Isme Azam to anybody and everybody, and those who do not have opportunity but they seek to elevate will get the blessings from Imam. All right?
You.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah. There is another question. Can you elaborate about intellectual senses?
So, in other words, when I was saying that when we have physical senses, and I gave some examples, we do know that in history there were hudud-e-din. Hudud-e-din are the ranks, hierarchy of religion. In today's time, when we say there are no hudud-e-din and they are all encompassed within the Imam, meaning that all these senses, when we talk about spiritual senses or intellectual senses, they actually play the role of hudud-e-din. So physical ranks, which are Natik, Asas, Imam, they are physical ranks. But when we look at the concept of hudud-e-din, there are Jad, Fath, Khayal, spiritual ranks. They are at a higher level. They are the senses which are intellectual. For those Mu'min Salik who are walking on the path, all these hudud-e-din are working within the being of that Mu'min Salik. And with ilmu amal, that Mu'min Salik is able to recognize how hudud-e-din are within their being, helping them, guiding them with the hukum and amr and the mercy of Imam. Ji.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah. If there are no comments, then we can end here, and then inshallah we'll see everyone next week.
Thank you, Yali Madad.
Thank you, Yali Madad, Yali Madad.
Bye, Dad.
Thank you. Yeah, look at that time, ma. Thank you.
Yali Madad. Yali Madad.
Yeah,
Shukran,
no,
Shukran.
Mama, thank you.
Yali Madad.
Yeah, Mama.
Happy birthday. Okay.
Thank you
Thanks a
very
lot,
much.
ma'am.
Shukr, shukr. Thank you so much.
Shukran.